introduce her. I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you that have been here today and have been through all these journeys. I know, for my part, I'm taking back a lot of positive stories out of all of this that I've heard today. And it fills me up with the joy. It fills me up with the feeling of the strength that we all have. And my goodness, I used to feel lonely, to be honest. I thought I was the only one going through whatever I was going through. And suddenly I find a massive tribe. And that's great. It's a great, great feeling. And so thank you to her story. And I'm glad I said yes. Now, to introduce our next speaker. Rosemary is from Canada. And she's an author, a speaker, a transformation and relationship expert, and the CEO of Roses Life Coaching Inc. Rosemary has a social work background as a domestic violence counselor, actually, and she organizes transformation retreats and couples and single workshops as just a facilitator. She herself has had to work through grief of losing her husband, and is a widow, and she's on a mission, and that's to change the world and also to make us aware of our grief and how we deal with it. Because one thing's for sure, according to her, and I guess we all agree, that life will move on with or without you.
You doing that too? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Imagine yourself standing at the altar with the most handsome guy that you picked yourself, thinking that you have made the best choice of your life, and you say, I do. And for those that have been to the altar, when you say, I do, you always think this is for life, right? But life is full of surprises. Life can throw you down to your knees. Life can throw you up into the sky. 12 years after I said I do to my husband, the rug was swept under my feet, and I felt like I was being thrown into this bottomless pit. I received a call that my husband was no more. I didn't have a chance to say goodbye. That was the toughest part. And when you're going through widowhood, it's a status that you are thrown into. For those that are widows in here. How many are widows in here? None. Wow, I'm the only one. That's okay. So it's a tough situation, especially when you have children to take care of. When my husband passed away, we were a very happy and successful couple in the city that we lived in. Both of us were lecturers at the same college. But when your partner is taken suddenly away from you, the trajectory of your life changes suddenly like that. I had to live with a new status. So from being a schoolgirl to meeting this lovely 6-foot slim guy saying I do at the altar. So I was his girlfriend, first of all, then a fiance, then his wife, and then I became pregnant, so I was the mother of his children. I was this caregiver, and overnight, I had a new status, a widow. Nobody trained me to be a widow, and I've never seen anybody applying to be a widow. When you get divorced, yes, you yourself can choose that, you know what, I'm done with this guy. But when you're a widow, it's the status that is thrown at you. And society expects you to accept it and run with it. Most of the times, the family members will tell you hush, stop crying. You have kids to take care of. This is what I was told all the time. Stop crying. You have children to take care of. My youngest daughter was 5 years old. My husband left me 3 kids. Going forward, it was tough. After the funeral, you come back home, the house is empty. It's dark. It's cold. Your best friend is your pillow, because your pillow is the only one that knows the amount of tears that you cry, the amount of tears that comfort you. The world turns cold. People look at you differently. When you go to events, well-dressed like this, those people that are married will give you the look. Ah, she's here to take our husbands. This is why she's so fully dressed. She's here to wink at our husbands. This is why she came in late, because she wants to entice our husbands. On the other side, when you go in dressed poorly, we knew it. She is suffering so bad. It's really bad. This time it has really hit her. So you can imagine, starting from there, you go right to the floor. It's hard to be a widow. For those that have lost their parents, you should talk to your moms. How does it feel to be a widow? The world changes. I remember when I went home one time, after the funeral, I went back to put flowers on my husband's grave. You can feel that the atmosphere has changed. At the wedding, everybody was happy, including my in-laws. Oh, now we have an extra daughter. But your husband dies. You go to the same home, the same village to meet the same people. The atmosphere has changed. You get to the homestead, you feel like a stranger. Everybody's giving you the look, like you are a thief coming to steal another child again. When you go anywhere, even to drink water, they want to see how many cups of water you're drinking. When you are a widow, you go through all these emotions. People judge you because they've never walked your road. People look at you differently. Even your best friends, they change. You used to belong to couples. Now, because you are alone, you are no longer coupled. Your coupled friends are not even sure if they should invite you for stuff, because they always say widows are boring, because widows talk in past tense. You say, me and my husband, we used to. Those that are coupled say, we always do this. So it's like, do you fit in there or you don't fit in there? They don't know whether they should invite you or they should leave you out. When you are coupled with your husband, you go on vacations, you go for games with your coupled friends. But when you are alone, everybody puts you in a cage. And what do you do when you are in a cage? You get suffocated. You look for help. I couldn't find the help. I spoke to my pastor, finding out how I could help myself to get out of the cage. I couldn't find help. Although she was widowed, she couldn't find help because most of the pastors were all married. I couldn't find help at all. That's when I decided to move to Canada. But before I moved to Canada, I continued to lose family members. 2 years after my husband died, my dad passed away. And my dad was my pillar. He had moved in with me to help me look after the children. And 2 years later, he was gone. So I felt again the fence had been removed and I was alone. After that, I decided to leave Zimbabwe and go to Canada. I go to Canada, I am hit with cultural issues. People in Canada, they drive on the wrong side of the road. They talk differently, they walk differently, they look at you differently. At home, we say, hello, Mamukase. You greet everyone. In Canada, when you get there, when you say hello, they give like, what are you doing looking at me like that? You know, I'm just trying to be friendly. This is who I am. So I got separated from my children for 6 years. And I remember when I was at the airport, I said to my children, I am going to find a new life for us. I am going to start a new beginning for us. My children trusted me for what I had promised to do for them, but not society and my in-laws. My in-laws thought I had dumped the kids, but they didn't even come to my rescue to help me look after those children. My family had to step in and look after them. I went to Canada and I was working 3 jobs. And when you are a foreigner in a country, a lot of things happen. It's either your qualifications are not validated, you cannot do the same job that you were doing. So I had to send myself to university again. So I was working 3 jobs with 3 children to support. But yes, I did manage to go through university again, got my qualifications, and managed to bring my kids over. I brought my kids over, and I brought my mom over a year later. But unfortunately, 2017, my mom passed away. So, another defeat. After that, I lost 2 of my best friends, and I've recently lost the last brother that I had. So it's like I've been plagued with death. Every time I try to turn around, death is there waiting for me. But my message to you today is, you can still rise up. You can still use your pain to thrive. What I was missing from my life was healing. I needed to heal. I didn't have the tools. I looked left, right, and center. I couldn't find anything. Speaking to people, they will tell you what they think, but not what they feel. It's tough when people are giving you advice and at the same time they are judging you. And it's tough to ask for advice when you are scared that people will judge you. It's hard. Most of the widows out there, they are dying in silence. I am here to fill in the gap for those widows that are dying in silence, that help is out there. I'm on a mission to save all the widows, that you can still find your healing and you can start your life again. I decided to write my book. This is my book, so you can see I have the same outfit. The same glasses, different hairdo. But my message is that don't continue crying and not taking action. Continuing to cry and not taking action is self-sabotage. Cry and take some action. It's like You are standing in the middle of the road and you are crying, I'm going to be run over by a car. You are not a tree. You can move away from the street, right? And find healing. So for most of you, this just doesn't apply to widows. Even when you are divorced, even when you lose your job, when you lose your hair, most of us ladies, our hair is it's like a crown on our head. When you lose even your clothes. I remember one time when I was going to Africa, I lost my luggage. My goodness. It was like I had lost the world because part of me was missing. So this is the truth about grief. Grief can paralyze you. Grief can push you down to your knees. Grief can turn the trajectory of your life. Grief can isolate you. Grief can kill you. Thank you.